Hello and welcome to this game review. In this one we will talk about opening principles and how important it is to abide by them, and later we will talk about the principles of attacking and how important it is to open up lines towards the opponent's king to have a successful chance of attacking. So e4 and b6, and this is already a mistake by black, as this move does not fight for the center at all, and it does not develop a piece either. In the opening, we have a few goals. Firstly, it is to establish a center with pawns, for example. So for example, e5 is a very good move. This will allow us to develop the pieces. Also, it controls the square on d4, so now white can't really play d4, as this would develop the queen too early, and we could attack it. So now after e5, or some other opening like c6, d5, we would have some kind of control over the center, and it wouldn't be easy to play. After b6, now white is able to establish the perfect center. So this is already a bad position for black, because they do not have any control over the center. So here, black should probably play something like e6, try to develop the pieces as quickly as possible, maybe d5, but instead g6, so black is again not fighting for the center, and here white starts playing too much with pawns. White should just develop normally, for example like this, or maybe bishop f4, bishop c4, this would probably be ideal. Develop the king somewhere, put the rooks in the center, and white just has a very easy position to play, as all plans are available, and the white has the whole center. But f3 is also possible, and white plays e5, which is a bit overextending, and black now plays h6, which is another violation of opening principles. This is a useless pawn move. This move doesn't really do anything for our position. Instead, again, we should try to fight for the control over the center, maybe d6, try to attack this pawn, which has far advanced. For example, after taking, we can take with the queen, develop the knights, and black will be probably doing fine, as white has not really developed their pieces with the time that has been given. h6, bishop c4, e6. Now white finishes development. Black continues playing bad opening moves, a6, another move that's not really useful. White also plays a3. Again, white should just finish development, maybe play f4, try to improve the pieces somehow, and white has an advantage because of the center. a3, knight e7. Now black fights for the center, and this all works out because white's development has been very strange. White has not really fought for the center, and now the pieces in the center are weak. Even then, white is not doing that badly. Knight e4 and the bishop e3, and now black develops the pieces, castles, and now everything turns out quite good when castles happens. So white castles queenside, so this means that we will have to attack this king while white will have to attack our king. So black takes the bishop on e3, this is possible, knight c6, and knight a4. So this gives way for the pawns to march towards this king, which is a good idea. Bishop d5 is also probably a good idea to exchange one of white's defenders. White plays this, and knight c4 and b5. So this was all very nice. And now black's pawns are slowly advancing. Black has the hook on a3, which means our plan is definitely to play b4 one way or another. Rook fe1, queen e7, so I'm not sure about this move. Black should somehow prepare a5, b4, maybe play a5. We can't play b4 yet because the knight is hanging, but we can play, for example, queen c6. The rook can go to b8, and then b4. We will start to attack this king. But here, knight ec3, queen g5, and black finds a nice tactic to win a pawn, and this works out. Black also wins another pawn. So now, even if black's attack doesn't succeed, black is completely winning because he has an advantage of 2 pawns, and white doesn't really have any compensation. Knight c6, so this all works out. And here black plays this move, queen takes c3. I mean bishop takes c3. This does win a pawn, but it gets rid of this very nice bishop. Probably there were better moves here, for example developing the rooks from a8. And now black can recapture on e6. He has 2 pawns up, so the position is quite good. Also white can't really even take because the knight is hanging. But this is fine. Now black has 3 pawns up. So now, after c6, black has consolidated. And now we just have to not blunder anything, because now black is just generally winning with 3 pawns up. The simplest plan is generally to just exchange as many pieces as possible. The simplest would be to put some rooks on e8, try to fight for the open file, maybe queen e5 once this rook is gone, to exchange queens, and black is just winning. Okay, rook e4, a5, and now black plays b4. So this actually blunders a piece, which was not very careful. Before making any move, we must consider the opponent's checks, captures, and attacks. This is called a blunder check. We must imagine that we have made the move and think very seriously what are the opponent's checks, captures, and attacks. So the opponent doesn't really have any checks. Captures, well, they can capture a knight either with the queen or with the rook, probably with the queen as the queen is attacked. And it turns out there is a pin, which you did see until here. This rook, for example, couldn't be taken. And this knight can't be taken because of this pawn. But now that this pawn is not here, the knight is gone. Not AB. And here black plays a4, kind of continuing the attack. Maybe here black saw that after this there is queen takes c4. But if there wasn't queen takes c4, the idea is to at least open one file. Now the rook on a8 is very strong. We can, for example, double on the a file and try to give checkmate there. But here after a4, the black knight is still under attack, and now the rook can also take it. So now we have simply lost a piece. Our attack hasn't gone anywhere as the files are not open. And now white is winning because they have a piece up, and white converted the advantage quite easily, and also black lost on time. So this is the most important part of the game. Here when we played b4, we must understand how we blundered a knight in one move and try to understand what can we do to not blunder it. And the simple answer would be to make blunder checks. Before playing any move, think about what the opponent can do, checks, captures, attacks. And here it doesn't seem like this is a threat, but after your move something changes. After every move something changes about the position. With this we have to understand. Also, this is a 10+0 game, which is basically blitz chess. So to make decent games, to have something to analyze, we should play with longer time controls, for example 15+10 or even longer, so that we have more time than to just make a blunder check, because in 10+0 games we will always keep blundering a lot of pieces because we don't really have much time to think. So hopefully this was useful, and hopefully you do have an ability to play with longer time controls.